Right, my camera just let me down. Hello to everybody again. It's the 16th of March. On the 7th of March, I said rest of the world might catch up with China in 8 days' time. Okay, and I pronounced this little graph here. This little graph here was rest of the world might overtake China by 15th of March unless the trend decays. And I did put a caveat on that later, actually, saying that it could be as late as the 23rd if we went on a linear trend, but we're on an exponential trend. This is a log graph. So for the rest of the world, in yellowish here, going up, with or without the Diamond Princess, it doesn't make any difference, okay? Yellow is without. This kind of little blue line here that's going up parallel is with the Diamond Princess, but the Diamond Princess cases are totally insignificant now compared to the number you've got for the rest of the world. And here's China in green, increasing exceedingly slowly actually, so that it looks flat really. And there's the meeting point on day 16. I was being conservative. Not conservative as Tory, but conservative. Saying day 16. Which was 15th of March, because day 8 was whatever, the 7th. That's when I made the forecast. There you go. And so I was taking data from the end of February, and an almost perfectly exponential trend was going to meet the rest of the world. And so I was a day early. Because if you look now, there's 178,000 cases in the world, and there's about 82,000, 81,000 in China. Which means that, well, there's 90,000 in the rest of the world, so it's overtaken easily today on the 16th. So okay, yeah, a day. I was a day early, but you know, that's not bad. That's not bad for an amateur, is it? Really? Okay, who can't get his bloody screen straight. And the epidemic, obviously. I mean, look, here's China and here's Europe. I don't know what the total is for Europe today. It's going to be massive. Because, look, you've got 6,000, you know, 6,000 Germany, 5,000, well, France, Switzerland, United Kingdom. It's soon going to add up. Okay, so let's get to the forecasts. Let's get to the forecast with my wonky screen. And my article yesterday on COVID-19 stats.blogspot.com, when it allow me, is to say another bad forecast for Italy. Another bad forecast for Italy. Indeed. Very bad, actually, unfortunately. So my Italy forecast today, cumulative cases, I say they're going to go up to 219,000, 220,000. Okay, that was the previous forecast, so it's up a lot. South Korea's forecast gone down a little bit to 8,360. Well, they're over 8,000 already. They haven't got far to go. China, again, they're at 80, nearly at 81,000, maybe at 81 already. They're at 81,299. They're going to go to 81,299. They will get clusters, and it won't actually stop there. Cumulative deaths down to 3,274 from 3,374. That's 100 fewer deaths than the previous forecast. Every one counts, doesn't it? If I go back to here, actually the proof that the rest of the world has overtaken China is this little bit here, down in the corner. Okay, you've got the other locations, mainland China and recovered. Other locations in yellow has overtaken China in gold. Okay, and you've got a lot of recoveries there. But you've got a lot of people in Europe who are not recovered yet. And quite a lot of people in Europe who probably won't recover, unfortunately, the rate it's going. Very high death rate in Italy. So, where else were we? What else was I going to say? Well, I was just going to say a little bit about the forecast, really. The forecast has risen from 153,000 in Italy to 220,000. As you add another data point, the forecast line in the equation move a little, and it may make quite a large change in the outcome. As more points are added over time, the volatility should decrease, but the percentage day-over-day figures in Italy are not improving fast enough to keep the forecast line from rising. And as you can see there, the percentage day-over-day changes in Italy are not really improving. Let's have a look on here. There's Italy's forecast. Okay, that's what Italy looks like right now. It doesn't really look very good. We're here somewhere in the 20,000s, 27,000, halfway between these two lines. That's 50, that's 100, that's 150, that's 220,000. And it keeps going up. So I mean, this could climb. Hopefully their quarantines will start to contain it, start to contain the acceleration, and then they will join this straight line region and eventually roll over. Okay, now the actual cases will go something like that on that curve that the chief scientist showed us all, which is about 100 times higher than the NHS can actually accommodate. But that's what happens if the epidemic gets out of control. This is more than China now. Just in Italy, it's more than double. It's nearly treble China's figures, although they might have missed a lot of cases in China early on. As I said, the day-over-day percentage change is declining, but actually here it's kind of flattening out, which is bad. It should have been down below 10% by now, and it's still up at 20%. That is what's causing the disastrous forecast for Italy. South Korea, on the other hand, 8,500. 8,000, so it's 8,300 odd cases. Very, very stable. Look at their trend. It's gone down past 20%, past 10%, which would be here, plus 5%. It's around about 1% a day, 1 or 2% a day now, their rate of change. And continuously decreasing. This is what the graph for China looked like originally, giving them this top end of the S-curve. Okay, at a much lower level than Italy. So South Korea is here, but they're at 8,000 odd. Whereas when Italy gets here, they're probably going to be at 250,000, if they're lucky. That's what a difference in management does. That's what freedom of movement of people does. That's what contact tracing does. Lack of freedom of movement of people does. That's what locking down does for you. It gives you that. Freedom of movement of people gives you Italy. You know, that's the lesson that we're going to learn from this. Very hard lesson indeed, isn't it? So yeah, what else I was going to show just for this one was, I did say that Germany and France are on an almost identical trend, blue and red in the middle, and so's Spain in kind of khaki colour. Here's the UK. And I was saying the UK was about 15 days behind Italy, and that's being very optimistic. We're not 4 weeks behind Italy, we're 2 weeks behind Italy. Germany and France are about 10 days behind Italy, and we're another few days behind Germany and France. I would just say, you know, when did they get over 100? Italy got over 100 there, 35. We got over 100 day 46. We're 11 days behind Italy. Yeah, maybe we're fewer than 15 days behind Italy, but I had an estimate of about 15. Okay, so when you look at the news, if you look at the news today, and there's the actual graphs, not on a log scale, this is on a linear scale. Italy's going up to the sky. That's 2,000. They're 15 times higher than that now. Here's Germany and France, and here's good old UK. It looks nice, doesn't it, actually? But this is where Italy was back here somewhere. I don't think we're increasing quite as fast in this portion as Italy, but remember that we are not going to be testing mild cases anymore. So our graph may appear to slow a bit, but it isn't really, because we're not testing the 80% of mild cases anymore. So our figures are going to be 5 times lower than they actually are. Remember that. And that could be true for other countries too, but we're deliberately not testing mild cases now. So we're deliberately undercounting. So this could shallow off a bit, but it doesn't mean that we're succeeding. It just means we won't be counting cases. So be warned about that. What you see on the news in Italy, you're going to see in England in a fortnight. So if you watch the news today, whatever's happening today in Italy, you're going to be seeing it here, tent hospitals and whatever else, and it's going to be quite a bit colder here probably in April. You can get a frost in April, okay, at the beginning of April in 2 weeks time, quite easily. So you're going to be freezing your butt off in a tent hospital somewhere in England, and that's the best you're going to get actually, if you get one at all. Whereas the Italians, at least maybe the weather's reasonably clement right now. I don't know what it's like in the north, but it's probably warmer than it is here. And that's how to do it. South Korea. Quarantined here. They still had a huge increase after the quarantine, and an increase in the daily new cases, but they peaked a number of days after the quarantine. I'm not sure quite how many. It could have been about a week, maybe. And then down it went, down, 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 and you end up with that beautiful S-curve, which is similar to the curve for China, says he, messing about with his computer. Okay, there's the UK. I'm going to try and put a trend line on the UK to see how quickly we'll get to Italy. This is UK overtaking Singapore. We did very well actually until we brought the Diamond Princess people home. Those 4 cases there, from 9 to 13, and off to the races we went. Very strange. Very, very strange. China, yes. Again, as I said, the S-curves. And this is the rest of the world taking off seemingly to infinity. Okay, nowhere near any kind of deceleration. Okay, China was decelerating at 40,000 cases. The rest of the world, as I said, about 80 or 90,000 cases. It's still decelerating. My forecast, my first tentative forecast for the rest of the world was about 1 million cases or so. There, about 1,000,001. That is extremely too low. It's going to be far, far, far more than that, because there's going to be 220,000 in Italy alone. So on that note, there's Singapore, you see. Even Singapore, the absolute gold standard is creeping up. Okay. They're getting more new cases a day than they were back here. Their clusters are getting bigger. They're on a roughly, very approximately parabolic trend. At least they're not exponential. But they could end up exponential. So let's pray that they don't. Let's pray that they don't. Here's the rest of the world percentage increase, you see, with and without South Korea. Okay, I was thinking for my rest of world forecast that the slope was going down and I could forecast 1.2 million cases. But because it was dominated by South Korea, it's actually invalid, because the rest of the world is increasing at 20% plus a day. And all of this down slope was due to the fact South Korea was sorting its crap out. And the rest of the world is just going up exponentially at 20% a day. So that's unforecastable. It could be tens of millions, hundreds of millions or whatever. We really, really cannot tell right now. So on that note, I'm going to say goodbye and don't have nightmares and everything else. Ta-da for now.